In ancient Greece, dolphins were venerated and believed to be our marine brethren. Killing a dolphin was punishable by death. It was said that dolphins were humans who chose to return to the sea. Poseidon, the god of the sea, entrusted them with the mission of helping humans in peril. Ever since, there's been no end to the stories of dolphins rescuing sailors from storms or ferocious sea monsters. Endurance swimmer Adam Walker has nearly completed his greatest challenge, swimming the 7 most difficult straits on the planet. Little does he suspect during his next swim what a group of dolphins will do for him. Why are we so fascinated by these marine mammals? And why do they seem just as curious about us? Are dolphins as altruistic and intelligent as we think? As we travel the globe to meet the world's top dolphin experts working to decode dolphin behavior, one essential question emerges. If dolphins are so close to humans, might we one day be able to speak with them? First stop, New Zealand. The open water swim challenge Adam Walker has undertaken is a brutal test of stamina. One mishap will put him back to square one.
The 6th swim of the Ocean 7 is the Cook Strait in New Zealand, which is north to south island. It's around about 18 miles, it's got 3 currents, and it is one of the hardest swims in the world.
More than 8 hours in water as cold as 13 degrees Celsius. That's at the extreme limit of human endurance.
I thought to myself, please, something good happen in these swims, and I was praying to the ocean gods, give me something positive.
Suddenly, Adam is surrounded by a group of dusky dolphins. It's magical. But tagging along is an unwelcome guest. A great white shark. When he spots the shark, his first thought is, get back to the support boat. But his dolphin companions form a barricade around him, and the shark retreats.
You know, I've trained myself to switch off any fears because I can't allow it to happen. I can't leave the water. If I leave the water, the swim's over, and everything that I've trained for finishes. I had a choice. I either focus on the shark or I focus on the dolphins. I chose the dolphins. But I felt perfectly safe because the dolphins were alongside me, and I felt like there was no way for the shark to get through. Are they there to protect me? What is happening? Are they just curious, or is it because of the shark? All these questions are going through my mind, and how do they work? You know, are they like us? Do they want that connection with us, that affiliation with us? What is it all about?
The dolphins stay with Adam for more than 3 hours. With their help, he completes his grueling swim.
And it was only when the pilot said to me, Adam, you're losing time because there's 3 currents you've got to get across, that I thought in my head, well, okay, thanks Dolphins for your support, but I really must get on with the job in hand. As soon as I thought like that, then the Dolphins disappeared forever within maybe 5 seconds.
Rob Howes, a New Zealand lifeguard, hears Adam's story on the local radio and invites him over. Rob has his own story to share, one that took place during a swim with his 15-year-old daughter and 2 of her friends.
We basically wanted to go for a training swim, and it was a good introduction for the girls to go over to the rocks to get a bit of experience. Probably about 5 minutes into our swim, when suddenly some dolphin fins suddenly appeared from nowhere, really close, started surrounding us and circling, which is unusual. Of course, the girls who had swum with dolphins before were starting to get a bit anxious over it. Yeah. There's a bit of screaming, a bit of questioning. Yeah. So I'll just show you where we're
Yeah, great.
So we basically got packed into a circle here. Then the behaviour changed even more when they started beating the water with the tails. Never seen this behaviour before, but it wasn't one dolphin, it was all of the dolphins. As they surfaced, they were bashing the water with the tail. It was very, very loud, intimidating. Whether it was directed at us or not, I have no idea. I turned to my right and looked in the water to see where it was coming up, and that's when I saw the shark. Basically, I just saw this big object going around me and recognised it straight away. It was very obviously a great white. I had to trust the dolphins, basically. Yeah. They were obviously aware that there was a predator in the area, and for that period of time, they'd included us as part of their extended pod.
Yeah.
And they were implementing their normal behaviour patterns to protect us, to include us.
So you felt like they were
Yep.
protecting you?
After the event, yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It would seem Adam's experience is not uncommon. When his team posted Adam's adventure with dolphins online, dozens of stories flooded in from around the world, from people who'd been aided or rescued by dolphins. One in particular, from Hawaii, caught Adam's attention. Martina Wing, an underwater filmmaker, made this compelling remark: "Dolphins help us because they know we help them too." Martina Wing leads night dives among Pacific manta rays in the waters off Kona, Hawaii. Until recently, she wasn't particularly interested in dolphins.
I came in '98 as a tourist, and someone signed me up for the dive. I did the dive, brand new diver. I saw the manta rays. I really fell in love with the whole setup. I was blown away. And then someone filmed me that night, and I saw the video, and I bought the video from the guy, and I married him. So I think they're really good videos, you know. So.
The enchanting atmosphere of night diving set the stage for the moving adventure Martina would witness. Drawn by the light, millions of tiny plankton form a compact mass, a hearty feast for these gentle giants. But in 15 years of daily diving, Martina had never seen a dolphin join this enchanting ballet. Until that night.
So in 2013, it was January, I was at my job. That's what I do for a long time. I'm filming the manta rays and the participants. And so I was just pretty much at work, and we had a beautiful night with 12 manta rays. And I suddenly hear something, was a noise that get people's attention. The dive master was clanging on his tank. And I look around, and there's a dolphin swimming into the dive site. And I could see he couldn't move his head to the right anymore, so there was a restriction between his mouth and his pectoral fin. I keep following. The dolphin is actually swimming over Keller and right in front of his face, and hey, you know, you're the guy that I need right now.
Keller Laros immediately spotted a huge hook caught in the dolphin's pectoral fin, with its joining line caught in its mouth. The dolphin seemed to understand that only a human with their dexterous fingers could remove the hook.
I think this is an incredible trust to our species, where he's like, yes, you're the solution here, and I'm gonna stay here. It was incredible because he was so holding still the whole time, and I couldn't believe it underwater. I mean, what was happening. In this case, the human was the solution for sure. He knew that. He could have swum away any time. And he was actually then able to cut it off. And then eventually you see how the pectoral fin opens up, the line is off, and then the dolphin says, okay, I'm done with this now. I have my pectoral fin back. And then he moved out and back into the dark, and bye-bye. It was incredible.
Dolphins that rescue us and ask us to rescue them. Is there more to it? Back in Europe, Adam heads to the Ile de Saint, home to a group of some 30 dolphins. There, he meets up with Fabienne Delfour, a researcher with the ethology lab at the University of Paris 13, who's there to observe the dolphins. Adam wants to learn more about these enigmatic creatures. Fabienne knows just about everything when it comes to dolphins. A biologist and animal behavior expert, she's worked with them for 25 years and is associated with the international study, the Wild Dolphin Project. Adam's curiosity is driven by the question that fascinates us all. Is the connection that seems to exist between humans and dolphins merely an anthropomorphic projection? Or could dolphins truly have some points in common with us? What makes humans human and sets us apart from all the other animals is that we are the only species to possess 5 essential faculties: abstract and concrete reasoning, self-awareness, the ability to invent tools, the development of a culture, and finally, a genuine language. Could dolphins possess some of these faculties too? Adam can't get over the dolphin in Hawaii that knew only a human could solve its problem.
What I find incredible is human beings have only been underwater for a short period of time, maybe 50 years. So how did the dolphins know to go to the human being rather than another dolphin or a whale? And it's absolutely amazing, the connection between human beings and dolphins. It's incredible.
You can't say humans are connected to dolphins. It's like saying we're connected to monkeys, generally speaking. There are about 30 species of dolphins. The ones we know best and believe to be the most intelligent are Tursiops truncatus, bottlenose dolphins, and orcas.
So the myths that we've heard about over the years between dolphins and human beings is actually the bottlenose.
That's right. It seems all the stories of fishermen and swimmers being rescued by dolphins involve Tursiops truncatus, bottlenose dolphins.
When it comes to dolphins, the brainiest one, the head of the class, is the bottlenose. The dolphin made popular 50 years ago by the famous TV show Flipper. Here in Florida, where the real Flipper lived, scientists had spent 40 years trying to understand dolphin cognition. Just how does their intelligence compare to our own? At the Dolphin Research Center, Kelly Giacola, research director and psychologist, is studying the intelligence of the bottlenose dolphin. She focuses on one question. Can they think in an entirely abstract way as we do? Do they understand abstract concepts such as math? She uses a battery of tests to find out.
Good boy. Can I get a high five? Helen, are you ready for a little research today?
Specifically here, we're looking at a numerical concept, which is less versus more. So when you're talking about numbers and how you quantify numbers, there's something called numerosity, which is oneness, two-ness, three-ness. You can pick out one thing or two things or three things. You can also, though, with numbers, they're in an ordered series, right? It's not just 2 is different than 3, 2 is less than 3, and 3 is less than 4. And that's what we're testing here, is whether they have that idea, that there is some sort of series that the numerals go in.
Let's get this ball rolling. I know, it's exciting. Ready?
The dolphin is asked to point to the board with the fewest white dots.
Good job.
It's simple at first, even though the dots are different sizes. Then it gets harder. Each board contains almost the same number of dots. Remarkable! The dolphin keeps on giving the right answer. Dolphins solve each problem in an average of 5 seconds. Not sure most people could match that. The experiment is repeated dozens of times, but the dolphin almost always gets it right. No doubt about it, dolphins have a certain mastery of the concept of numbers, and they didn't learn it at school. This gives us some crucial insight into their cognitive capacities. In the non-human world, species capable of abstract reasoning are thought to be very, very rare.
A lot of things that we once thought were specific to humans, as we test more animals, whether it's dolphins or whether it's chimps, we find out that, oh, look, they can do it too, and we're maybe not quite as unique as we thought we were.
Turns out humans aren't such an exception in the animal world. What if we had other things in common? Before we find out, let's have a look at a faculty that is theirs alone. A kind of sixth sense that humans don't have.
So what we do is we took a game that our dolphins already know. It's called Do As I Do. So what you have is you have one dolphin who's the model, and his job is to do whatever behaviors the trainer asks him to do. And then the other dolphin is the imitator, and his job is to imitate whatever the model dolphin does. As I said, our dolphins already knew how to play that game, so we wanted to add a little twist, and the twist is we blindfolded them. Well, we used these soft latex suction cups, really, that are eye cups that stick over their eyes. They can, like all of our behaviors, these are voluntary, so the dolphins can blink them off if they don't want to wear them, and that's fine. But so we blindfold them. Once they're blindfolded, the trainer of the model dolphin gives the signal to the model. Now I want you to spin, or whatever it is, without words. So So the question is, well, how are they doing it, right? We took away sight, so the obvious candidate is sound. But in dolphins, that comes in two varieties. They could have been using the characteristic sound the behavior makes. Or dolphins also have echolocation, their biological sonar. So it could be that they were seeing the behavior with sound. So in our second study, what we did is we changed the sound of the behavior. Well, how do you change the sound of a behavior? Well, what we did is instead of using a dolphin as a model, we used a person as a model, because a person doing dolphin behaviors is going to sound different than a dolphin doing dolphin behaviors.
Echolocation, found only in dolphins, whales, and bats, is a system that uses sound waves to detect objects. Like ultrasound, waves are reflected and analyzed to determine an object's distance, shape, size, and density. Dolphins are able to see with sound.
So what would happen is, if they could recognize the sound of the behavior, they would just recognize the sound of the behavior, mainly with the dolphin, which they already knew. If instead they couldn't recognize the sound, they would turn and they could echolocate. And you can see them do that. They turn and echolocate. Intelligence is not a linear thing, that some animals have less of it and some animals have more of it, with humans at the top. For example, the dolphin has evolved in a very different environment than us for 90 to 95 million years. So when we're talking about our cognitive studies, we're looking at not how intelligent is a dolphin, but how is a dolphin intelligent?
Echolocation is a perfect illustration of how. It is much more sophisticated than the most state-of-the-art sonar humans have come up with. In this area, it would seem, dolphins have surpassed us. Dolphins have developed a form of intelligence that makes them more competent than us in their own environment. But let's go back to what we do have in common. Once again in Hawaii, another dolphin faculty is coming to light, something we believed unique to humans. Eliza Will is a psychologist. She's briefing her patients, Kelly and Marnie Sue, for their first encounter with wild dolphins in Kona Bay.
We're going to be doing our dolphin-assisted psychotherapy session later today.
Okay.
And I wanted to give you some idea of what to expect. When we're in the water with the dolphins, the encounter is always on their terms. It's never something that we can control. So one of the lessons here is really relinquishing control of this and accepting the gift of the day, accepting what it is that they choose to do relative to our presence.
For 15 years, Kelly and Marnie Sue have suffered from depression and addiction issues that have not responded to any form of treatment. They've come to Eliza because, with the help of dolphins, she's designed a thoroughly innovative therapy that has proven successful.
An experiential therapy is a therapy that enables a client to have a novel, unusual experience. We've created a situation that almost no one has ever been in before. So it generates a lot of emotion, an emotional reaction. That may be fear, it may be excitement. So this, in effect, allows us to bypass the intellect, bypass the defenses, and take them more quickly into some of the feelings that have been driving the maladaptive behavior, the addiction or depression or anxiety. So that's the intention.
Animal-assisted therapy is an alternative treatment for behavioral problems. But with dolphins, the sessions can turn into something quite special. Like the bottlenose, as soon as these dolphins sense the swimmer's presence, they come over to check them out. The curious thing is that over the 10 years Eliza's been doing this, she's realized the wild dolphins aren't interested in her or her assistants. Their full attention is focused on the patients. The dolphins can sense who needs help. How? Their sonar allows them to see the swimmer's internal organs. They can tell when someone's heart is beating too fast or their diaphragm is contracted, signs of stress in a suffering patient. Like the dolphins in New Zealand that comforted Adam when he was frightened by the shark, the Kona dolphins sensed the vulnerability and anxiety of the patients and came to console them. In a matter of seconds, the dolphins had captured Marnie and Kelly's full attention, and their anxiety and fear of being alone in the open water was forgotten.
Today the pod was taking off and my peers and contemporaries were taking off to keep up with the pod, and there was one who was hanging back. And I froze and I actually stopped. And so everybody else had taken off and I'm looking at this one dolphin and he's looking at me in the eye. I was like, you're here for me. It was a personal moment for me that I would like to call very spiritual, but, and it was for me. There is a power greater than yourself, and admitting that there's something bigger than yourself that can bring you back to earth and ground you and bring your sanity back.
Clear proof that dolphins have an awareness of others, which is yet another of the 5 human cognitive faculties. Because in order to have awareness of others, there must first be self-awareness, something very few animals have. How can we tell if an animal has self-awareness? We use the mirror test. In the equatorial jungle of Gabon, let's watch the most common reactions when a wild animal sees its own reflection. There are basically 5. Indifference, curiosity, fear, seduction. In almost every case, the animal thinks it's seeing another animal, not itself. The last reaction, and the most common, is aggression. Anger escalates quickly because the challenger in the mirror never backs down. Very few non-human animals pass the test. And dolphins? Fabienne Delfour is often consulted on animal behavior at marine mammal facilities. Today, Birgitte Mercera and Fabienne are going to perform the famous mirror test on bottlenose dolphins.
On avance un peu, non? Ça, c'est la paroi.
We're going to do the mirror experiment. We've hung a one-way mirror on the window and we'll observe the dolphins' behavior.
They can't see us?
No, they see themselves, but we can see them.
It's really a mirror.
It's a mirror from inside the tank, but it allows us to film them without being seen. They're going to exhibit a more rhythmic, self-focused behavior. It's kind of like in a shopping mall, you know, where there are monitors and there's always someone who comes up and waves.
Yeah, they give a little wave.
Often, animals that recognize themselves in the mirror display this kind of behavior.
Unlike gorillas or panthers, dolphins show neither fear nor aggression. They know what they see is a reflection of themselves.
Oh, you're handsome. Yes, you are. Gorgeous.
They check themselves out from every angle and enjoy clowning around.
The mirror experiment allows us to determine if these animals have awareness of themselves. Because you must first have a sense of a permanent self to be able to understand that what I see in the mirror is still me, but also to be able to distinguish between what I see and a fellow dolphin. This really requires elaborate states of consciousness, what we refer to as self-awareness. In humans, we know that children pass what we call the mirror stage, beginning at about 12 months. It was Lacan who introduced the concept of the mirror stage.
The dolphins passed the test with flying colors. They have demonstrated self-awareness, along with abstract intelligence that makes two cognitive faculties they share with human beings. But are there limits? Areas where dolphins are not as intelligent as we might think.
What I'm really confused about is if they get caught in fishing nets, why don't they just jump out and exit? It seems a basic form of intelligence to me.
I'm going to show you something. Have you got any matches?
No, but I'll go and have a look.
Okay. Now, don't worry, 95% of people can't solve this. I want you to make 4 triangles using 6 matches.
I don't know.
Here's the trick. To solve the puzzle, you have to think in 3 dimensions, not 2. Most people think in 2 dimensions, unless they're forced to think in 3, like pilots or astronauts. Dolphins think in 3 dimensions. Their way of thinking is completely different from our own. What we need to understand is that intelligence is a multitude of cognitive capacities, such as abstraction, innovation, tool use, and learning. When dolphins get stuck in a net for the first time, it's an extremely stressful situation, and they have to come up with a solution for it. Once they've solved the problem, it's forever. Like you with the matches. Once you've learned to think in 3D, you've got it. It's something you never forget.
Makes sense, just like human beings.
Exactly.
Exploring, experimenting, learning. All signs of intelligence. Young dolphins learn different hunting techniques from their elders. But sometimes putting them into practice is a dangerous feat. Orcas are the largest members of the dolphin family, growing up to 10 meters long and weighing up to 9 tons. They rival the bottlenose dolphin in intelligence. In the shallow waters of Fagure Harbor, a family of orcas is here to hunt. Each year, they come closer and closer to the shore, risking stranding and death. Fortunately, the orcas have loyal friends in the region, like Dr. Ingrid Visser, founder of the Orca Research Trust, who's been doing amazing work here for many years.
One of the reasons that we get so many strandings of orca in New Zealand is that they come into shallow harbours just like this, and they're coming in here to hunt for rays. The rays, of course, don't want to be eaten, so they come into very shallow water as well. And in fact, it gets so shallow that at times the orca are swimming along and they don't even have enough water to submerge, so their dorsal fin is sticking out. But it doesn't matter. For whatever reason they get stranded, they usually need help from people. It's really important to get there as quick as we can so that we can give them first aid and look after them until we can get them back out into the water.
So this is Putita. It's the second time he's got stranded.
Wave's coming.
Okay, here we go, wave. Big guy, come on.
It's no easy task to move a 5-ton orca. Ingrid and her team need an especially big wave to help them lift Petita. In deeper water, 2 members of his family keep an eye on the scene.
Come on, you can do it, big guy. I know. Come on. He stranded a few years ago when he was a bit smaller. And that's his mum and his brother just out there now.
After 2 hours of hard work, Ingrid and her team are still struggling to keep Petita in an upright position. But they're not about to let the orcas down. The relationship of trust Ingrid has developed with the orca family in Fagure Harbor has given her unique access to their world. Ingrid has rescued so many orcas that they're no longer wary of her. They seem to accept her as one of their own. This has allowed her to get very close to them, and she's discovered something amazing while watching them hunt. A striking illustration of concrete intelligence.
It doesn't matter where you go around the world and you go and observe orca, you're going to see them hunting in different ways. And that's what part of makes up their cultures. And it's really fascinating as an orca biologist to see how different they are in different locations. And so just like you have with humans, these different cultures, and each population is completely different.
To study the unique cultures of the orcas in her area, Ingrid cut straight to the chase.
One of the things that I realized when I first started doing my research was that if you really wanted to understand what was going on with the animals under the surface, you needed to actually get in the water with them. Any whale or dolphin that's coming up to the surface is typically just coming up for a brief moment to take a breath. And the real behavior, the real stuff that I'm interested in, the feeding behavior, is going on under water. So it made logical sense to try and get in with the animals and watch from there.
On each dive, the orcas greet Ingrid briefly, then go about their business. By following them with her small camera, she discovered this orca population has a remarkable behavior that relies on their sense of observation and intelligence.
The New Zealand orca are unique, and one of the most obvious things is in the way that they hunt. When they're hunting for the rays, they come into shallow bays, just like this one here, and they go into very, very shallow water, so sometimes less than a metre deep.
These orcas have learned that hunting requires more than just brawn. It takes many hours of watching and practice for them to perfect their stealth technique and catch rays hiding among the rocks. When a ray is picked up by the tail, head down, it becomes motionless and defenseless, a state known as tonic immobility. Once horizontal, it can move again. Using this deceptively simple technique, the orcas catch the rays with no risk of a nasty jab from the dagger-like stingers. Brains win out over brawn.
Because I've been doing the research for so long, I know many of the individuals and I know them well enough to recognise them by sight. I can predict certain behaviours that they're going to do. So for instance, Rocky, he's called that because he hunts in amongst the rocks. So when I see him, I'm pretty sure that he's going to go up into the rocky areas and look for stingrays. Miracle will come up to the boat and she brings her calf over, and her calf is very curious as well. And so these different individual orca allow me to also get a little bit more of an insight into their lives.
There's no doubt strong bonds can be forged between our two species. Perhaps to show her she's part of the family, the orcas offer Ingrid a share of their catch.
Even though I've been doing research on orca for over 20 years, I can still go out there and find new stuff, things that has never been seen before by anybody, and make world first discoveries. It's really remarkable when you are out there with these animals because they're wild animals and they don't have to spend time around you. They can easily swim off. And I've been very, very privileged to have the opportunity to see some absolutely remarkable stuff with orca coming up to my boat bringing food.
Inventing such a complex hunting technique merely by observing their prey tells us they are using concrete reasoning. Yet another form of intelligence we share with them. And our quest continues. Adam Walker and Fabienne Delfour venture once more into the waters off the Ile de Saint. The spectacle of wild dolphins swimming in the open ocean still fascinates Adam. It's just that once we become intrigued by dolphins, sooner or later a controversial question arises.
Fabienne, it was so wonderful to see them in the wild. Tell me, why do we have to study them in captivity?
To my mind, studying them in captivity and out in the wild are actually two sides of the same coin. In the past 50 years, we've learned so much about animals. For 50 years, we've been studying dolphins in captivity, and we've learned so many things. And this information has helped us protect them better. We can protect animals out of love, but we can also make some enormous errors in the name of love. So one way to protect animals is to understand them better. To do this, we need to study them. We can do so in the wild, but as we've seen, the opportunities are brief. In captivity, we can follow what we call ontogeny, in other words, the development of countless processes. So it's quite complementary to conduct studies in the wild as well as in captivity. In my opinion, that's the best way to understand who they are. Once we know who they are, we'll understand what they need. At that point, we'll be able to make the best decisions to protect them.
But after 50 years of research on dolphins in captivity, haven't we learned enough about them? What good is it to keep performing experiment after experiment? Is scientific research the only reason we continue to keep dolphins in captivity?
On another level, there's the issue of should marine mammal facilities exist at all? And I definitely think yes, for two different reasons. First, the vast majority of what we know about dolphins, physiology, cognition, reproduction, all of that, the vast majority of that has been learned in marine mammal facilities, and we still have a lot to learn.
Kelly Jacola cites other reasons. These dolphins were born in captivity and have always known humans. They would never survive in the open sea. But for her, the bottom line is, it's not just about science, it's also about raising public awareness.
Marine mammal facilities provide a forum for the public to experience these animals, to learn about the challenges they face in the wild, and to form the kind of emotional connections that are really important. So the only way that we're ever going to get conservation is going to eventually boil down to the millions upon millions of decisions that everyday people make. Well, how do you affect that? We know that if you bring them into a facility like ours and you give them up close and personal experiences with animals, with these animals, at that point is when they make an emotional connection. And that emotional connection is a start of conservation mindedness. It's not enough just to tell them the information. People have to know the information, but they have to care enough to actually go out and do something about it.
For Kelly Jacola, these dolphins serve as ambassadors that provide a link between humans and their fellow dolphins in the wild. Dr. Ingrid Visser is one of the experts who staunchly condemn the scientific and educational usefulness of marine mammal facilities.
If you look at any research that's been done in captivity, it's not necessarily a true reflection of the animals. Some of these animals, like orca for instance, they're traveling 100 to 150 kilometers in a single day in the wild. In captivity, they won't even do 100 laps around one of those tanks. It's like taking you or myself, locking us in the bathroom of your house for the rest of your life. And the only time that you get any entertainment is if somebody comes in and tells you you have to do some tricks and then you'll get your food. I mean, come on, really?
In my mind, I truly believe that the time has come for us to only be looking at whales and dolphins in the wild. You know, if we have a really burning question, then surely we're smart enough to be able to ask it in the right way that we can work with these animals out in the wild on their terms.
Researchers may never agree on the best ways to study dolphins, even if they all harbor the same passion for them. A passion that Adam Walker now fully shares. Through Fabienne, he's learned that dolphins and humans share abstract and concrete intelligence, a capacity for empathy and self-awareness. But that's not all. The second half of our adventure will take us to other locations around the world, where we'll meet more top dolphin experts working with these highly intelligent animals, and people with whom dolphins actually collaborate as a team. We'll follow wild dolphins on the hunt, and we may even embark on the beginnings of a conversation with them.